Bethany says, just thinking that their Twitter mentioned maintenance, didn't think they'd flatline the servers. Yeah. I don't know. It may come back, it may not. We'll have to see. I'm just going to keep painting in the interest that it does come back up, and we've stayed productive. I don't know what else to say. Should I reboot? What does this button do? Are we back up? It's saying that everything's good now. Just ask the chat real quick. All right. What were we doing here? Yeah. Oop. Steve says it's back. Yeah, we back at it. Effectively just drawing in some dark lines here. It's back. First the ads. Oh, they'll do that to you. Those damnable ads. Twitch does get like that. So first they came through here. Got to make the ads work first. Did you get the link to the new project? Yes, Steven, and I was talking about that, and then we got cut off. So we'll just wait a few moments for everyone to get back in here, and we'll cover what I was thinking about your project. If you want to link it up again so everybody can see it. Hope everybody wanders back in. What a weird thing to just think, let's hot dog it, see what happens. It's not like the servers aren't getting used at a bunch of excess on account of everybody's at home right now. Yes, Benson's back. Steve's back. Brogami says, what's weird is it wasn't a rolling restart, right? Says Steven says, wonderful use, wonderful world of Windows. That is why I use Linux. I think with the current pricing model that Microsoft has really entrenched themselves in, I think it makes a lot of sense to become a bit more that Red Hat, because I don't know how small businesses are going to be able to handle servers in the future. Like that per core solution is very intrusive and excessively priced. Gallifrey's back is nice basing. So now that people are rolling back in here and have gotten a look at what Steven was, because that's when we got cut off, I was just saying, I feel like Steven's color selections are always on point. Like, as far as his painting journey is going, things are looking good with that. But where things are on like another level is with that basing. Like you're here with your painting, like you're working on your paint, and we all are on a level, like part of that journey with our painting. But like your basing is a step up. And I love looking at like your dioramas and what you're doing with even like you just posted those two little ghoulish monsters on just a souped up base. It goes a long way to carrying that through. We got Pricksping. Welcome on in. How are you today? Hopefully you're having an all right morning and you survived the Twitch dropping out on everybody. Brickspink says, good so far. Love watching a fellow painter work. Well, thank you for stopping on in. And if you have an Instagram or Imgur or something for your art, please feel free to share. We love looking at other people's art and seeing what other artists are working on. Right now I'm just alternating between this muted chocolate brown and this ochre to get a nice weathering effect, and in a moment we're gonna get a secondary highlight color, and we're gonna take us to the next level. Califire says, yep, nice basing. Programming system will figure out later. Somebody always does. It says doing all right, heading to bed. Late night again as always. Dang, Benson, get some sleep. Steven says, I still have some more things to add. Yeah, basing is like one of my favorite portions of the model on account of it adds so much to the atmosphere. Oh, there's the base. There we go. That's what we need. Here's one of the bases I've been working on lately, Steven. Just some mud. I think, yeah. You can start to read where certain portions of this are shinier than others. It was my intent to leave the peaks more matted than the valleys. Trees and things. Oh, trees are always such a good thing to ask. He says, we can see it. Looks good. He says, that Benson, take it easy. Absolutely, Benson. So ochre is just a yellow-brown. So I'm taking an off-white that has quite a bit of yellow into it. We're going to add it into our ochre mix. Or our ochre brown, and we'll just mix it up. This is just Baylor Brown from Citadel. And then we're adding just an off-white. This one happens to be a P3. paint. It's a Menoth white base. And here we're just going to pick out some of these edges to add a little something to. Some places we can add more. Benson says to add enough without overshadowing the subject so much fun and easy to go overboard. Looks at all the giant trees my wife has added to my minis. Easy is the only way I take it. All right, let's continue down the old leather strap here. Nope. Need some more paint. These tiny brushes are nice and useful, but I tell you, too much paint. And then we have no paint. What's that about? It's like my struggle. Did I get enough paint to be able to paint? Oh, is there too much paint? Okay, let's get some of that paint. Okay, so now we don't have enough paint. So on and so forth. Just kind of insisting on these little dashes, even though a lot of times it looks like no paint whatsoever is coming off. Let's try again. Now we're going to be working the other direction. Little lines. Very occasionally it may make sense to like do a bigger line. I like that a lot when it comes to some of these like wrinkly portions of leathers or fabrics. Like you can take that highlight color and put it, it's a little aggressive. If you do it sparingly and you cut it across where it should not be, like the whole way, it can sometimes look quite a bit more dynamic. Like on a corner piece like this where it's super possibly worn. When you go from realistic and cool and you try to be a little bit of both, get that realistically cool look. And now we can try to wash it back in some kind of I don't know what I want to wash this back with. I think we'll use that based on that darker color mixed with a little bit of our ochre. I think that'll be a nice look. To do that, there it is. So just grab some of that ochre, get some of our darker brown. We get a nice muted like ombre look. These might contrast a little too much. They're kind of graying out. Yeah, I'm going to cancel that idea. I'm going to grab just a nice ink This is a transparent burnt sienna. It's going to be very red. I'll share that with everybody here. And when you get colors that have contrasting pigments, apparently they will, not apparently, but they will mute out on you. Typically they go brown before they go gray, but we're dealing with browns, so there you have it. Right, let's check our dilution on this just to see how aggressive it is. And it is fairly aggressive. So another spot of water. Let's check it again. I think that'll add a nice bit of color to the paling highlights that we have here. And so I'm going to be painting it down the middle, but also across those highlights. So we're just pulling or dancing our brush from our highlights into our shadows here. I think that will look nice. Let's see. This is fairly thin, so we may not enjoy the look of it initially. It might be a two coats kind of situation, but I'd rather thin the paint in a situation like this where I don't know necessarily what it's going to look like, and then we'll come back to it in a few moments and we'll see what it is, because two coats will definitely give us some reasonable coverage. And now while we have the colors out, I think that was definitely as good a time as any to start with the other side of this strap as well. All right, so actually, I'm just going to take a larger brush here. We'll demonstrate the whole process. We will start just blocking in a large amount of that edge highlight color just the whole way along the model, or the strap. We'll just do that to, I believe, both ends. I don't know if I can keep it on camera and get the brush up in there, but we'll give it our level best here. There. And we'll see how that turns out. Then we'll start to sort of wet blend. There, we found it. A little bit of that base color back in there. Sort of define those areas. Now we can start working with the smaller brush and start to kind of refine our textures. Little bits back and forth. Again, the small brush is super good at this, but gotta go back to the well frequently. Just start to get this laid down, and then we gotta let those dry. Gregersman, hey! Well, good day. How are you on this fine Monday? While we wait on that to happen, I believe we can take a little bit of our colors here that we have mixed up and actually start on the skull a little. Christmas is, to be honest, I don't even know what day it is anymore. I think my wife was suffering through a very similar thing a little bit last night as well. She's kind of admitting to how stir crazy things have been for her. I know it's been tough. I've been fortunate enough to still be working and without the routine adjustment, but it's still tough. Everything presents their own challenges in their own way. I think we can zoom out a little. We don't need to be so up the butt of the miniature now. We're painting some larger surfaces. This gentleman has a handful of skulls. So this is just going to be our base layer. Dilution here, a little smoother coverage. I'm just trying to keep in mind where the viewer is going to be looking at a model like this, and how do I keep things smooth at that or most smooth at that angle. Okay. But I hope things have been well otherwise, Gregersman. I know how it can be. Steven says, I hope it ends soon. My wife and I want to move to her country of Greece and retire. There's a couple of really, really awesome people that are from Greece on here that stream, Steven. Well, I don't know that George streams. If you haven't caught George Tsoukazides' work, it's georgesoukazides.com. I believe Snick also streams from Greece. That's pretty cool. I've never been, but from everything I've seen, it's gorgeous. TZU. I say Tsoukazides, but think TZ have a cup of tea with us. I believe Google will sort you out. He makes some phenomenal large-scale busts. We got now Megazil? Neo Magazi? Megazil? Please help me with pronunciation here. Good morning, welcome on in, and Stephen, no amount of college, I think, unless it was on the subject of Grecian spelling of things, would help. I could find it for you if you like. Yeah, for sure we can find out. Let's see. We're using a little bit of a different mouse this morning because the other one has died. The old tummy mouse. Don't worry about it. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. No, I cannot find it. I failed you. Might be faster through Instagram. Well, we're on it now, Steven. I've got you. This is Insta profile. I messaged it to you on Instagram. For those of you that are not familiar, I will share on stream. George Sukazidis and his fantastic arts. Some are a little more spooky than others, but he sculpts and casts all of his own things. Look at the size of that thing. Yeah? Cthulhu looking things. But yeah, he does all this from Greece. Which is pretty darn cool. Yes, hard to spell. A little bit even harder for me, at least, to pronounce. But how very cool. If we go to my page on Instagram, where are we? We gotta go not way back. We gotta go back a ways. There it is. That's the one I got from George. And we did a nice value sketch. Bit of a grisaille. I didn't go full grisaille with it. I didn't really have the technical prowess, and I still lack the understanding to do a great grisaille. I'd like to actually do more with this. And then I got him base coated in. And this is where he sat. But I decided that I wanted to try to push myself with such a dynamic piece, and I wanted to do like firelight coming from this direction, but I wanted to also do like some moonlight coming from this direction. So I wanted to do that cold blue hit, and I wanted to do that warm orangey glow. And I've never done anything like that before, and I thought, what a better time than to take such an artistic piece like this and do that. Mm-hmm. It would be cool, Steven. But yeah, I thought it might be interesting if you're looking to head that direction at some point soon. For you to know that there are some Grecian artists out there, at least a couple that even I know of. Just grabbing a little Nollan oil here. We're gonna take this bolter back a bit. I'm not just gonna bathe it in the Nollan oil. We're gonna effectively dark line with it a little bit here on this lower half. Again, for those of you that were here earlier, I tried to glaze back the not glaze back, but like dilute back some of the metallic, and it just didn't happen too well. It is what it is. You get an idea in your head, you give it a shot. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get this. Steve says that is why when the Greeks come to U.S., they chop their names up so we can better understand. Yeah, George was very apprehensive to actually explain how to pronounce his name. He's like, I'm just George. George is fine. I'm like, George, it's a respect thing. Tell me how to say your name. Well, I'll figure it out. Like, when I look at the word, I cannot say the word. But if you tell me it, I can repeat what you're saying. I don't know what it is that causes that. If I'm looking at something, I want to read it the way it looks written. But if you don't have it in front of you, like if you've never given me that spelling and you said Sukazidis to me, I know how you say that name. And I believe that's correct. If that's wrong, that's me trying to be correct. But yeah, George, incredible sculptor and just a kind person. He was popping into streams. He may still be doing it, but he used to stop in here sometimes and just say hi and good morning. But yeah, a phenomenal artist and a kind person. All right. What are we going to work on next? Oh yeah, we're going to actually develop these skulls. I think... try to roll up the sleeve a little bit when I reach over the palette here. It will be one of these three colors. Ubereem's hopping in, says, hello, you've upgraded big time. You're a big time upgrade. Well, thank you for stopping in. How are you today? Just adding a little more cooler headset and mic. Well, thank you. We try to get a little bit better camera as well. Ubereem's getting ready to paint a little bit. That's always nice. It's a good feeling to get in that mindset. I don't know to what extent we'll be able to actually pick up these highlights on the skull, but we're going to start to pick those up. And I don't think I'm going to continue to highlight them beyond this step initially. I think they're going to sit here for a little bit, and then I will go through and do the backpack. The idea being that if I make a mistake, I can always tidy it up quickly on either side. But I wanted to get at least through the base coating step on both of these pieces before we take either of them to the next step, because over painting one way or the other is going to be a very frustrating thing for me. Just like why I haven't done this other shoulder pad because I did do this one and I get a little bit of anxiety when I get over there. Ubreem says, always nice to have a stream to match. Oh, that's good. And I'm actually, what does Ubreem say? I'm actually always washing the soap out of my brushes into another container, as if actually bad to have the master's soap on your in your paint water. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I believe the master's soap is, I don't think that's going to hurt anything. Certainly not in the quantity you're bringing in. I've never actually considered it. No, I wouldn't think so. That truthfully, until this moment, has never crossed my mind. So maybe I should have. I still don't think there's enough. Then again, another little peek behind the curtain. Here's my paint vat. This thing. Triple bays. Look out. The bigger bay has a nice little thing you can scrape the paintbrush off on the bottom. The other two are nice and separated, like smaller. I usually pick one depending on how much I'm working with. It might be both, but like whatever auxiliary, whether we have opaque or metallic, I'll use like over here. This closest bay is where I rinse my metallic off because it's like flecks of water, and then I try to keep the other one clean. I only use this, like whatever other one I'll use for like just keeping like clean water, and then like I'll use the bigger one for my primary colors that I'm working with. And I like that a lot. It's pretty nice to not have to worry about getting like resin flecking in your other colors, and you can work back and forth, which I tend to do a lot of. Ubreem says, looks like it doesn't see your painting. Oh, thank you. Steven says, I'm going to try and wash those Reapers again. Be right back. There you go. Ubreem says, if Clint Eastwood would paint, that's the pot he would use. Yeah, I was just rinsing it out the other night, like in the sink, like rinsing out the excess paint that's collected in the bottom. And my wife's like, do we need to scrub that thing? I was like, I think you'd break my heart if you scrubbed that paint off of there. I've been like building it up over time. It's not disgusting. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever worked with like somebody that has a coffee cup that's never been scrubbed and it's got like this patina they've been building up over the years, but it's a little bit disgusting, but it's also kind of cool to see the effort that's gone into it. I feel like that with the paint, but it's not as nasty because I'm not eating it. Like the paint on the sides isn't coming loose or anything. It's just dried on there forever. Alright, we're just going to build this up to the next. Here we are. Back into focus. Just starting to gradually build this up into actual bone color. Each time we're painting less and less of the model. Just bringing these highlights in. I do not have the best concept for painting bone and skull, so I am just kind of replicating a technique here. And I think that's important. Like, see how other people do things and try to follow along, and then just always remember to try to find your own way, kind of thing. Because there's no one way to do anything. There's just techniques and how people find success and what they find to be most easy. Like, I struggle very greatly to follow along with Angel Garaldes because we just don't paint in the same way. And it's not a knock on him, and I don't know that it's a knock on me. It could be a knock on like my level of painting, that I can't replicate their style. But let's get this music sorted real quick. But there's other painters that I look at their work and it makes more sense to me. Oh, I didn't. Hang on. For bias hopping in, says I use 3 different things of water, one for flat, one for metallic, and one as a secondary rinse. I use squeeze bottles for when I need to add drops of water. That's a good setup. I use the I have 2 types of squeeze bottle. These I bought a long time ago, long time ago, when I first started. I was watching an old Lester Burnsley video on how to make your own washes, and these were mimicking kind of what he did. So I got like little guys and then a couple of these bigger ones, and I use them to mix large amounts of stuff. And then I also have these sports bottle styles. I think this is a better style. If I was gonna advise somebody, this is the kind I would get, something with this kind of top. I use just water, or I also have one of these with airbrush thinner in it as well. I mix it all up on my own, but this is really nice, especially for the airbrush, because I can turn it sideways and just like spray into it to get the water to come out. That's nice. Okay. I'm just starting to find the highlights of these things in a crude way. We're not worrying too much about blending these out right now. But I have found that the more deliberate you are with these, the more specific you place your paint, the less work you have to do later when you go to actually smooth things out. Oh, he's got a skull on his chest too. We gotta, hold up. That's no good. Huh. We got skelly boys everywhere. Oh no. We'll be painting bone for days over here. See if we can't get a little better coverage on these. So, colors that are brighter, lighter colors, they tend to not cover with any kind of opacity over really dark color. And so, we're trying to paint over top of black. Guess what? You're not going to make it too far. Not with one coat. Says, I have a second type of bottle, one water, one airbrush cleaner, one flow improver. Flow improver is important, I think. I think in Justin's streams has been a few days ago now. Justin the Armed Painter, Amp Services, a couple names he goes by. But he, for Bias is regular in there. Good dude, incredible artist. He was talking about like with somebody about the difference between like different types of medium, and even I had to look it up just to be certain we were talking about the same thing. But he was just off the top talking about things. He was pretty much spot on with it. Like Flow Improver allows your paint to do just that. It allows it to flow into the recesses better. My airbrush medium that I mix up is mostly distilled water, but it has a little splash of Flow Improver in it, just a splash. And then it has like it's 90% distilled water, and I would say 10% isopropyl alcohol, and then just a splash of Flow Improver. That's it. And it does the work for me. I'm very happy with that mixture, and I'm very comfortable with it. People ask, what do you need for like thinning out your airbrush paints? Like, just look up how people do it, and whatever it is, just stay consistent with it, I think that's the important part. Because once you get used to how it reacts with your paints, then that's going to be the way of it. I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to thin them out. If you got the proper dilution, you're going to paint. The only drawback to a Flow Aid, and I love using it, is that it costs roughly the same amount as gold does per ounce. It's quite pricey. There we go. Those are starting to read as bone. Might be time to start looking in here a little bit more. I think the next thing we need to do is bring in a little bit of a darker tone again. Something a little bit more red, perhaps. Oh, before I get too far down the road with this, I'm just now remembering I was letting the wash on that leather strap dry before considering coming back at it. So let's have a look at that now. Since we washed it back, it's actually looking pretty darn good, huh? All right, let's give it one more gentle glazing, just all over to tie things together. Up here on the highlighted edge, because this won't be like a nice casual bit that we can have hidden on the bottom. We're actually going to be very specific. We're pulling from these highlighted edges into the middle. We run a little bit down the edge here just to filter that as well. We'll worry more about the inside here shortly. I just want to make sure we have a nice concept of what that strap's going to look like the whole way. Okay, now take this darker tone that I have here. I'm going to add in a little bit of our previous color. Another instance of colors don't want to blend. Clearly I'm using the wrong browns. competing colors never go over well, huh? Let's see if we can't darken in this temple a little bit. Steven says, didn't think that would do anything. What did what, Steven? If it was something I said, I sometimes lose track of what I'm talking about. I will say that is one of the drawbacks to sitting here and talking like I do. I'm sometimes not actually thinking about what is actually coming out of my mouth. I know you were trying to rinse those models again. Try Washington Reaper again. Yeah, it won't fix it. You gotta get that primer off of there and get them covered up. Sometimes you can rebase coat them with like another paint, but I haven't had it. That's allegedly. I don't know that I've ever actually seen it accomplish anything. I've never tried it myself. I never thought it would work. Like I said, the only thing I did was took I know people who like Simple Green and other things, but I use that cleaning agent. That LA is totally awesome because it's not very abrasive. And then I used that to clean up that primer. And just, like I said, took some, I want to say Vallejo or Badger back then and redid it. Just took an airbrush primer and brushed it on with an old paintbrush. Try to get some of this. The Art of Mike Disney. Well, how are you today, Mike? Have you ever been more frustrated with a line weight than I am with this line right here? Because I'm very much not happy with that line. It's so much denser than the rest of it. And it's bugging me because I really like how tidy that line is. Like, that's a good weight for me, I think. But, like, right here, just, like, from right freaking there to... Let me look at the model. To there. It's like, why did we have to be lazy? And I don't know how I'm going to fix it. It's just not good, you know? I don't even know what to do with that. Try to get creative, I suppose. One thin coat, yes. Yeah. You heard about two thin coats? Well, you know about one thick coat. That's how that's how I fix most things when I'm painting. Mike Disney knows what I'm talking about. Sometimes you just gotta get in there and get it done. Steven says, I put some army painter on the shield of one and it appears a bit better. There you go. Just looking for my red. There it is. Just mixing up a little bit of this red tone here with a little bit of my shadow tone. Just a purpley red into like a reasonably primary red. Steven says, one bad thing about being old, you can't forget the drugs. Oh, you take that medication, Steven? You know, I'm 34, and I didn't take my allergy medication over the weekend. I was outside on Saturday, and I was all jacked up Sunday. Nose running, sniffling. Let's see what we have here. Art of Mike Disney says, hello there, Gallifire. How are you, sir? Gallifire says, Duncan would be 50% happy. Steven says, speaking of Duncan, have you seen his new channel? I noticed that he did a whole, like, multi-part, like, 3 videos in one for contrast paints the other day. But I didn't, like, I don't watch too much of his stuff, to be honest. This is just a little test piece here. We're trying to figure out what we want to see. We got Inks to Kitsune says, Nomadic Christopher, fun that for you, Chris, the reason why Dark Angels got green armor was that G-Dub got a new artist and no one told him the armor was black and the artist did green. Funny. Motor City Ray coming in. Woot woot. Happy Monday fun day. That's correct, Ray. How are you today? Monday is always a fun day. Maybe we'll go one further in some places. Maybe even a bit further. Push that pinkish highlight even a bit further. I kind of like that. Who doesn't like some Salomon? Let's see if we can't tease this color out a little bit further. Right? Let's zoom out a little bit. We don't need to be up the butt of the model the whole time. For biases, I take 32 different medications daily. It is a pain in the rump, but is better than if I don't. If I did not take them. Yeah. I can imagine for bias with everything you're going through daily. I don't know what everybody else's approach is for the non-metallics, but I like to go one way and then the other and then back again to sort of embolden the effect. For me, I think I need like the different stages of it to start to understand where I want the highlight to be, and then another go to like saturate the colors. I'm just not brave enough to do it all at once. Galifar says that's brilliant at Inks the Kitsune. Never knew that about Dark Angels. Ink says to Galifar, yeah, if you like at Rogue Trader the armor is black and then you go second edition the armor is suddenly green. Kapow! Mercy Ray says, hey, you amazing art of Mike Disney, and hugs to the Kitsune. The Kitsune needs to get all the hugs. Jade's always so loving and Trying to make sure everybody's feeling good about just what we have going on in life. Popping in, just letting you know they think about you. Which lately has been a good thing because the world's a weird place. Taking the lessons I'm learning up here, the colors, tones that I'm liking, and we're going to apply in some way to the trim down below. I don't know to what degree, but we will get there. All right, let's start up here. A little bit of this. Inks, what color is the purity seal on his shoulder pad supposed to be? Mike Disney saying DeRay, you amazing Detroit gangster brother. There it is. Lobster pedos. Lobster pods? I don't know how to say it, Mike. I'm trying. Oh, there it is. Lost Store pedos. Hello, hello. Said brown, red, possibly. Tobias have not been brave enough to even try non-metallic yet, so you're braver than I. Yeah, we're out here learning, trying to practice. It's a quick way to see where limitations lie, just pushing yourself a little bit. More of this pinky tone. Concentrate that right up there at the tippy top. Ubreem says, and remember 10 years ago you would have been a non-metallic guy. Yeah, that was an interesting one. That freaking comment. It's gonna haunt me for a while. Like, hey, by 10 years ago standards, you've been doing great, man. Truthfully, I don't know that they were wrong. I was trying, you know? I think the issue is that we are our own worst critics. And then when somebody gives you a piece of actual critique and you're starting to feel like a bit of your work, it can be tough. I don't know why that's so soft. Give me a second here. Don't mind that. Let's see what I can sort out here. Let's have a peek here at the shoulder pad. That'll be a little crisper. Lost Pieces of Ray, how's your PC? Who says I received the try again but better? Yes. I love what you've written here. I'd like you to rewrite it. Nice. Take a break from that red for a second to start to tidy up the skull again. Kind of slopped in the shadow color, and now it's time to like bring those feathers in. Paint on the brush to actually impact a meaningful change. Brighter, brighter, brighter. Selective as we go. We might have to actually just mix up some darker paint and fix this temple here. I know they're supposed to be dark, but it's something else over there. No, this is not. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Lost Torpedoes. Pascal, good morning. Making sure I'm back on it. This is not Cypher. This is just a fallen angel. He's just rocking that plasma, you know. But if he was Cypher, you'd never know. I'd have to make this sword so freaking awesome if it was. There we go. Now we're getting that coverage. It's crazy how lighter colors just don't get fully opaque very easily. And so just a couple coats, and then it's like the moment it starts to cover, you're like, now I get the effect. But you just got to persevere to get it to that point. Dark Angels are one of the more lore-rich chapters from what I've understood. My one friend is a big Dark Angels fan. Meanwhile, I got Inks hopping in and educating me on all kinds of things about the Dark Angels. Well, any chapter I paint, really. Inks has taught me a wealth of things of. Cypher has huge sources, Lost Torpedoes. No, this is the same one. I just haven't touched them since last week. Start to tidy up the skull a bit. Mind you, I'm not adding any more highlight color to this. This is just that same color. We're just trying to get fully opaque here. So in some areas where it seems like we're highlighting more, we're really not. We're just continuing to kind of layer this color over top of itself, and it gets brighter and brighter. And eventually it'll stop doing that, but as one thing that I've struggled with quite a bit was like realizing that it takes quite a bit for certain colors to get to be as bright as they can be and actually turn into the color you want it to be. Very often for me, I'm painting with, you know, quite a bit of the undercoat showing. Sabas DK Sabostic. Not certain how you would like that pronounced, but good morning, welcome on in, and thank you so much for that follow. Please correct me on the name. Grab a little bit of that previous color here. Start to feather out this. We certainly didn't grab enough, huh? Try it again. Try again. We'll get it to come in here. Cypher would have a huge sword, huh? See if we can't pick out some of these definitions on the chest. Could help get things to be a little more readable. I think I'll start. Sebastian, it's been over a decade since I painted Warhammer. Oh, old school, huh? There you go. I'm newer to the hobby in general, so a lot of my viewers in here help teach me about the different aspects of the models. I used to play back in the day, but I never really got into it more than, you know, oh, these models are cool, I'll collect and play them. Let's see here. We're super zoomed in here. In a second, if you like, we can take a pan out and look at some of the other things I have on my desk. I wanted to be able to sit down and actually finish this guy over the weekend, but I did not. Did not have it in me. And here's another example. Like, look at how quickly it's drying on the left versus on the right. And I know I'm overpainting this skull, but it's primarily why I'm doing this now, because I'd rather overpaint the skull than the white robes. I'll fix that skull here shortly. And I think here I don't have the room to highlight 3 different shades, so we're just gonna jump right to the big kid color. We're gonna be bold, we're gonna be quick. Sabostic says, perhaps it's time to get back in the game. My one buddy has been trying to get me to play some more, and since I've been painting them, I have to be honest, they're looking pretty sweet. But he tells me that the game is as good as it's ever been. It's the best it's ever been as far as gameplay goes. So that might be worth something to entice you back. One second-hand endorsement of the gameplay. These little feathers are a little tight, so bear with me. I think we're going to end up having to manually paint in some of these lines. It's a little bit soft. All right. Let's see if we can't do this correctly. That's not going to work. Not going to work at all. Okay, let's bail out. Bail out. Okay. So, this is a gentleman working on now. You can sort of get a better picture of the full piece as it's coming together. The gun needs a bunch of details. The plasma needs to get done. The sword needs to be done. And the cloak needs detailed out a wee bit. But it's taking some reasonable shape. Here's Sorsha. She's for a different game, but another model we painted. If you were here for the doing my metallics really well by 10 years ago standards, this is specifically the piece they're talking about. But yeah, another style we work on in here. We've got this gentleman who, a little fuzzy on him, okay, who we've been working on lately. Pascal's digging the reds over here. Don't mind his belt that we got to put back on him. But yeah, he's starting to get his boots painted up a little bit to match the tones on the earth. But yeah, he's looking pretty good. Wow. Got this Alpha Legion we've been working on. He's about a power weapon away. His gun needs a little bit of adjustment as well. Anime Freak 420. Well, you April fan. Bionic Sheep says, that's looking awesome, man. Still not sure why we're awake at such an ungodly hour, though. Well, that's what I have time for before I go to work at a normal hour. All right. We got to find somebody, if we can, to pass this party off to, because I have to go get a tire looked at before I go to work. Which is a whole thing, huh? I ended up getting a flat on Friday on my way in, so I'm going to take my donut rolling rear end in and get some stuff looked at. Now, who if anybody is online to raid. Leave her there for now. Okay, Brush for Hire's kicking off. I don't know if is Lynn going to be on. She's usually wrapping up at this time, so I hate to raid Lynn and then have her passing off the raid train. But yeah, let's go check out Brush. Hope everybody's having a good morning and has an even better day. I never believe that Brush is online for me. There we are. Alright, let's get this boat in the water. Thank you everybody for stopping in and helping me get through the morning. I know that can be. The shoulder pad is starting to really come together and take light. We got to get the highlights. This has been a nice discovery tool because now we'll start applying those highlights down here under the robe. I'm going to tidy up the inner robe down here around his pants. But I really enjoy this fade that we're getting on the black armor. I think that it's truly taking some nice shape for us. The skulls will come together in time. His skin tone will take color in time. Just got to get the other details like kind of filtered in. This plastic on the chest, quite a bit softer than I would like, but I think we'll treat it as freehand and get it done anyway. It's a fun project, and I want to do right by Justin on it. And then we're going to be continuing progress that I made a little bit more of on her talons this weekend. I'm very happy to reveal this process a little more depth as well. Purple's been a very interesting thing to learn how to highlight with in a non-metallic way. But I'm super digging this look that we're getting, and I got a couple things I'm excited to show off on it. But this is going to be where we come back on Thursday. All right, there we are. We're going to go see Brush for Hire. And I hope everybody has a wonderful... Wait a second. Did it go? It did go.